That's what it's there for. I know it'd be good to have a few toys up here, because one of the just said that watch out for touring her baby downstairs. There's toys there. It'd be nice if we could create a little space up here. There's no reason why we can't. Yeah. Yeah, but you feel, I think the person feels a bit just like the show. No, I know, but like, anyway.
You know that's
Hi, special lockdown.
Your fan club's alright.
Bernie. Yeah, you told me. Yeah, I'm pregnant. Okay, I'm doing it again. Special everyone. There's been a late influx about 50 minutes ago because I thought it was just the RMP committee, but you've raised the game, fantastic. Like a broken record, I'm going to say again, please do sing today. I don't want to sing on my own, I don't want to sing solos, I want a really big sound. So I'm just here to help lead, so please join in everything you can, and if you're not sure of the tune, yeah, just join in, it'll be fine. I'm sure you'll pick it up quickly enough. Wrong notes don't exist. Okay. So we are going to be reading Service 1, which is on page 105. Probably all there already, keen service goers. So it's page 105. So if you're able to rise, please do. Mishkanoteha Yisrael, Ma tovu aleha Yaakov, Mishkanoteha Yisrael, Vanibrot Aztecha, Avavetecha, Eshtachave El Hechal Kodshecha, Ve'yiratecha, Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Adonai chavti me'on betecha, u'mekam mishkan kavodecha, v'ani ishtakaveh v'efrachai, efracha lifnei Adonai osi, ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael,
תפילתי לך אדוני, את רצון אלוהים ברוך חסדך ענני, באמת ישעך, מה טובו עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל.
Please be seated. We're at the bottom of page 105. As we say the prayers of our ancestors, help us, O God, to remember their devotion, their joy in suffering, and make us worthy of our heritage. May the tradition we have received live in us and pass from us to generations we shall never know, enriched by the truth we have found and the good we have done. So may we fulfill our task on earth and receive our blessing. Let's read together in English. Eternal God, school us in your teachings, and make us loyal to your commandments. May we never consent to evil, or surrender to temptation or self-contempt. Help us to rise our selfishness, and make us responsive to the voice of conscience. Direct our every impulse to your service. Today and every day may we remember kindness and compassion in your sight, and in the sight of all who behold us, and let us show your love. We praise you, O God, for the love you freely show us. Adonai gomel chasadim tovim.
Sha'avakesha suri umiskabi era lefanecha shachri v'gam habi livnei gedulatach emod v'evanel ki enchatirei kol makshavad libi mazeh asher yuchal halev halashon לעשות ומקוע רוחי בתוך קרבי. הנה לך עתיתה זמרתנו שקן אותך ועוד תהיה נשמת אלוהי. מהגוק שמה בחיי העולם ברוך הוא, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המהולל בפי עמו, משופע ומפואר בלשון חסידיו בעבדיו בשבחות ובזמירות, לגדלך ונמליך מלכנו יקיד העולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מחולל ותשפעות. אשרי יושבי ביתך עוד יהללוך סלה. אשרי העם שכחלון, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו.
We'll read this long acoustically, responsively. Always I will exalt you, my sovereign God,
and praise your name forever.
beginning each day with praise.
I will extol your name forever.
Cause us to see your greatness is beyond us.
Eternal one forever to be praised.
Declaring your works to each generation,
We bear witness to your mighty acts.
even as they speak of your splendor.
So I will meditate on your wonderful deeds.
For as to tell of your awesome might.
So I will count your greatness.
Great is your goodness, which they celebrate,
As they sing of your righteousness.
holding us in your grace and compassion.
You are patient and abounding in
In
love.
your goodness, eternal God,
You have mercy on all your creatures.
joyfully your work shall thank you,
And your faithful ones shall praise you.
knowing how great is your majesty.
They proclaim your might.
Let all humanity perceive your power.
And the glorious splendor of your redemption.
Mighty is your rule and everlasting.
Your reign endures in all generations.
O God, you support the fallen,
You raise up all who are bowed down.
pleading all look in hope to you.
And you give them the food in due season.
Quietly you open your hand.
Satisfy the needs of every living creature.
Righteous are you in all your ways.
And loving in all your deeds.
So near are you to all who call upon you.
All who call upon you in truth.
The desire of those who revere you, you fulfill.
You hear their cry and help them.
Unceasingly our lips shall sing God's praise.
So that all creatures Lord God's holy name forever.
Please rise.
ישתבח שמך ליד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול, הקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו, שיר ושפחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוהה בשירי זמרה.
And please turn to page 135 for the Baruch Hu.
Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Amen Vorach. Baruch Adonai, Amen Vorach. Amen Vorach Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. And continue on page 136. Let's say together in Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam.
Yoseh or uvarei choshech.
Oseh shalom u'marei et hakol. Ha'me'ir ha'aretz v'natarim ha'ne'ah v'chachamim.
U'tvo machadesh b'chol yom tamid.
Ma'aseh Bereshit. Ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai. Kulam b'chokhma asita. Malach ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu. Al shevach ma'aseh yadecha.
ועל מורה אור שעשית, ברוך הסלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצא המורות.
אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ויתרה, חמלת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו, ואבו אבותינו, שבטחו בך, למדם חוקי חיים. כן תחננו ותלמדנו ותן בליבנו הבין ולהשכל לשמוע ללמוד ולמד לשמור לעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תורתך באהבה. וחננו בתורתך ודבק לבנו במצוותיך ויחל לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך. הבנו בחרת על ידיך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. If you'd like to stand, please stand. If you'd like to sit, that's also fine. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Malkol Leolam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מועדיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מספך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לו תותפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Please be seated. We had quite an interesting discussion last night at the service about ideas about standing or sitting with the Shema, and it was pointed out that traditionally it's whatever you're already doing. So if you're standing, you stand. If you're sitting, you stay sitting. That's what the Talmud says, what the Orthodox halacha does. And we're talking about why liberal Judaism maybe made this change, and possibly because they wanted to make monotheism the most important thing and make this a kind of creedal statement, a statement of faith, and kind of elevate the Shema in this way. I don't know, maybe someone's got it in front of them, but I suspect the new Siddur will not say that, or it will say something like different communities have different customs, or something like that, because there's kind of recognition there are different practices on this matter. So there's tradition on the one hand and the kind of liberal values of monotheism on the other. It's kind of interesting juggling, so I think both approaches are very open. Let's do 138. Laman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kadoshim Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohim. Let's read together. Good and beautiful and true, sound, established and enduring, words now and forever.
True it is, eternal one, you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you are the God and Redeemer of our ancestors.
You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are first and you are last, and no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt, freed us from the house of bondage. Then with great joy, Moses and Miriam and all Israel together sang to you this song.
Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha Kodesh, Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha neda b'kodesh. ושמחה שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל ומה בעזרת ישראל, ועלינו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, God Israel. Kevin brought me the draft schedule. It does not say that you should stand Shema. It does not even say you should stand for the Amidah. It basically leaves everything for everyone to either decide or already know. It's all about more flexibility, I think, in congregations rather than being prescriptive. It doesn't have musical notes. It says, you shall choose. So it's all a bit more congregational agency rather than being top down. Let's stand though, despite all that, for the Amidah, if you're able to, on page 140. Adonai Sefer Tifta Ufria Gita Gilate. Adonai Sefer Tifta Ufria Gita Gilate. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, נצרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומרעיד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומק נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לה, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לך חיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים. לקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך. קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו, כבודו מלא עולם. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, ממקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור.
לטובתו נגיד כל לך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש קדושתך נקדיש ושפחה אלוהינו מבינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד לטובתו נגיד כל לך לטובתו נגיד כל לך ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please feel free to be seated. 142. You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When, upon its coming, we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day, the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts the message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful and good. ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג, המקדשי שביעי, המקדשי שביעי, כולם ישמחו ויתענגו מטובך, והשביעי עשית בו וקידשתו. סבנו מטובך, שמחנו בשורתך, ותחל ליבנו לעובדך באמת. וחנכילנו אדוני אלוהינו בחווה, ורצון שבת קודשך. ינוחו בה ישראל מקדש קדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. In English, Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. We praise you, O God, and learn we worship in your reverence. Modim, 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 modim anaknu lak. Modim, 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 modim anaknu lak. שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו, לעולם ועד. סוף חיינו, מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לטובתו, נודה לך וספר תהילתך על חיינו המסורים בידיך ועל נשמותינו. מודים, 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 מודים אנחנו לך. מודים, 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 מודים אנחנו לך. הקפדות לך ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו ועל נפלותיך וטובתך שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וסוחריים. מודים, 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 מודים אנחנו לך. מודים, 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 מודים אנחנו לך. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה לחטות. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברכנו אבינו אבינו כולנו כאחד באור פניך באור פניך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha ki bo'o panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Sim shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha Torah v'chayim achavat v'chesed ustaka uvracha v'rachamim v'chayim v'shalom Sim shalom tova uvracha chayim chen v'chesed Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha V'tov be'enecha levarek et amcha Yisrael v'et kol ha'amim kol עת v'chol sha'a b'shlomecha Sim shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha Baruch ata Adonai Oseh HaShalom. Let's take a few moments for silence. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Banei Adam Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Banei Adam. Fantastic. Beautiful singing. You're definitely hearing my words and we're making a great noise. It's really lovely. We're not going to read the theme service today, so we are going to turn straight to our Torah service, which can be found on 481. 481. And Kamocha Elohim Adonai Ve'gamasecha Malchutecha Malchut Kol Olamim U'memshaltecha B'chol Dor v'Dor Adonai Melech Adonai Malach Adonai Yimloch Ve'olam
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Noma Shemo Yadav, Lecha Adonai, HaGedula, V'HaGevura, V'HaTiferet, V'HaNetzach, V'Chavod, V'Chanetzach, V'Chavod, Yichol V'Shamayim, U'Va'aretz, Lecha Adonai, Mamlecha B'Midrasei, Lecho L'Rosh. Please be seated. Please be seated. So we are reading Parashat Vayetze. Still in the family sagas of Genesis. And later on in the parasha, which I'm not going to be reading, is all about the travails of Jacob and who he's going to marry, and again he gets the wrong one, and it's kind of paying him back because he tricked his father. He dressed up as his brother, and therefore he gets tricked by the sisters dressing up as each other. So maybe there's some kind of divine karma there, or something like that. As we know, no one behaves very well in the book of Genesis. That's what makes such good stories, and we talked about that last night as well. We're going to be reading from the first parasha, which is one of several encounters Jacob has in the middle of the night. Strange encounters with angels or with gods and with dreams. And this is the one with the famous ladder to heaven and the angels ascending and descending. So our reading... Vayetze, we're reading, I'm reading it in Roman numerals, I always get that. Genesis 28, verses 10 to 22, and it can be found on 164 in the Sonsino. Anyone else got any other information they want me to give numbers for? Is that pretty much everyone? It's 164. Okay. Yamod, Avraham ben Reuven, Kriyat HaTorah. I'm trying to memorize that the whole service. Adrian's been helping me.
Baruch et Adonai HaMavorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chavanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Toratav. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu HaTorah.
Amen. Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran, came upon a certain place and stopped there for the night, for the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of that place, he put it under his head and lay down in that place. He had a dream. A stairway was set on the ground, and its top reached to the sky, and angels of God were going up and down on it. And the Lord was standing beside him, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. The ground on which you are lying I will give you to you and to your offspring. Your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All the families of the earth shall bless themselves by you and your descendants. Remember, I am with you. I will protect you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Surely the Lord is present in this place, and I did not know it. Shaken, he said, How awesome is this place! There is none other than the abode of God, and that is the gateway to heaven. Early in the morning, Jacob took the stone that he had put under his head and set it up as a pillar, and poured oil on the top of it. He named that site Beit El, but previously the name of the city had been Luz. Jacob then made a vow, saying, If God remains with me, if he protects me on this journey that I'm making, and give me bread to eat and clothing to wear, and if I return safe to my father's house, the Lord shall be my God, and this stone which I have set up as a pillar shall be God's abode, and of all that you give me I will set aside a tithe for you. ויצא יעקב מבאר שבע, וילך הרנה, ויפגע במקום, וילן שם, כי בא השמש. ויקח מאבני המקום, וישם מראשותיו, וישקה במקום ההוא, ויחלום. והנה סולם, מסר עצה, וראשו מגיע השמיימה. והנה מלאכי אלוהים עולים ויורדים בו. והנה אדוני ניצב עליו ויאמר, אני אדוני אלוהי אברהם אביך, אלוהי יצחק. הארץ אשר אתה שוכב עליה לך אתננה וזרעך. והיה זרעך כעפר הארץ, ופסעת ימה וקדמה, וצפונה ונגבה. ונברכו בך כל משפחות האדמה ובזרעך. הנה אנוכי עמך, ושמרתיך בכל אשר תלך, והשיבותיך אל האדמה הזאת, כי לא אעזובך עד אשר אם עשיתי את אשר דיברתי לך. יקץ יעקב משנתו, ויאמר, אכן יש אדוני במקום הזה, ואנוכי לא ידעתי. וירא, ויאמר, מה נורא המקום הזה? אין זה כי אם בית אלוהים, וזה שער השמיים. וישכם יעקב בבוקר, ויקח את האבן אשר שם מראשתיו, וישם אותה מצבה, ויצוק שמן על ראשה. ויקרא את שם המקום ההוא בית אל, ואולם לוז שם העיר ראשונה. וידע יעקב נדר לאמור, אם יהיה אלוהים עמדי, ושמעני בדרך הזה, אשר אנוכי הולך, ונתן לי לחם לאכול, בגד ללבוש, ושבתי בשלום אל בית אבי, והיה אדוני לי לאלוהים. והאבן הזאת, אשר שמתי מצבה, יהיה בית אלוהים, וכל אשר תיתן לי, אשר אסרנו לך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן תורה.
Baruch שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Please be seated. Do we have a Haftorah reader?
Yes.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh yes, of course.
Right.
Research.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, pages of,
What page is it?
no, what pages the broker?
Oh yes, I'll find that for you. Hold
No,
on.
the oh, sorry,
Here you are.
999.
Here you are.
No, 483.
483 of the total lessons, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's lovely.
Okay.
We praise you, eternal one, our God and sovereign of the universe. You've been our source of strength and righteousness throughout the ages. Faithful God, whose word is deed and whose every word is true and just. Let us magnify the Eternal One, and together let's all exalt God's name.
Amen.
Amen. I'm going to read Hosea chapter 11 from verse 7 right through to 12 verse 7, and it's in the JPSA 999. Now, when I read this, I didn't quite understand it, so I researched it. And Hosea is part of a collection of books known as the Trei Hasar, the 12, or the Minor Prophets. Hosea is very much linked to Amos. Both prophets were active during the 8th century BCE. We know less about Hosea ben Beeri, that's his surname, than we know about Amos. Hosea operated apparently in the northern kingdom, and his target was predominantly, but not exclusively, Ephraim. The wilderness wanderings are an important element of the book of Hosea, and the wilderness provides an instrument of punishment. But in the part I'm reading, it mentions Jacob again, and it's the Hosea talks about Israel's ingratitude resulting in punishment, and he mentions Zeboim and Amaiah. They were both destroyed, like Sodom and Gomorrah. But there is eventual restoration, and they're minor prophets, but they campaign for social justice. So, and both are reactions to changing conditions from what is quoted as a decadent society and religious and political unrest. But there is restoration at the end.
Some of it's on 188 in the Sonsino, not all of it, I think, but some.
Yeah. For my people persists in its defection from me. When it is summoned upwards, it doesn't rise at all. How can I give you up, O Ephraim? How can I surrender you, O Israel? How can I make you like Amiah, render you like Zeboim? I have had a change of heart. All my tenderness is stirred. I will not act on my wrath, will not turn to destroy Ephraim, for I am God, not man. The Holy One is in your midst. I will not come in fury. The Lord will roar like a lion, and they shall march behind him. When he roars, his people shall come, fluttering out from the west. They shall flutter from Egypt like sparrows, from the land of Assyria like doves, and I will settle them in their homes. Ephraim surrounds me with deceit, the house of Israel with guile. But Judah stands firm with God and is faithful to the Holy One. Ephraim tends the wind and pursues the gale. He is forever adding illusion to calamity. Now they make a covenant with Assyria. Now oil is carried to Egypt. The Lord once indicted Judah and punished Jacob for his conduct, requited him for his deeds. In the womb he tried to supplant his brother. Grown to manhood he strove with a divine being. He strove with an angel and prevailed. The other had to weep and implore him. At Bethnal, Jacob would meet him, there to commune with him. Yet the Lord of hosts, must be invoked as the Lord. You must return to your God, practice goodness and justice, and constantly trust in your God. There is a... Do I...
Yeah, maybe just do that. Is that okay?
Yeah. For the Torah and for the privilege of worship, for the prophets and for this Shabbat day, which you, eternal God, has given us, for holiness and rest, for honour and beauty. For all these we offer thanks. May all the living come to praise your name forever.
We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath.
Thank you.
So we come now to the prayers for the community. Someone like to read the first one, the prayer for the government and the royal family.
I'll read it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Eternal God, whose domain embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our sovereign Lady Queen Elizabeth and all the royal family, for those who govern our country, and for all those who influence the quality of our national lives. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom, justice, tolerance and compassion, so it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
Thank you. Someone read the first section of the next bit? Yeah.
Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this synagogue to meet, to study and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us and heal those in anxiety or pain.
And we just think at this point of anyone who is in need of healing that we know, any names that people would like to mention.
Vivian Lacra and my cousin Nikki and her husband Mel, as always.
My husband, community, was Phyllis Sanderson.
Recovering slowly but steadily most of the time.
Jeanette Schindler, who's finding it very difficult at the moment, but keeping a sense of humour. Also last night we went to the Vulcans, and they're both doing very well. They both had their health issues. Pam, yeah. Calders.
No, just...
No, Calders. Pam Calders.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So for all those and anyone else we haven't mentioned, we pray for healing and we hope for a full shalema, a full recovery and return to full health, or as much as is possible for those people. And do you want to carry on?
Yep. May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world. Let those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness to your truth and do your will.
Thank you. Amen. Someone want to read the prayer for Israel?
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbours, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem.
And we have one additional prayer, because today is New Artist Human Rights Shabbat. We have a person called René Casson, who is a great Jewish one of the. So the Shabbat marks the anniversary of the Declaration of Universal Rights, and René Casson was one of the codifiers of that, and was Jewish, and there's a long Jewish history of Jews who were involved in the Human Rights Declaration. This is a prayer by Rabbi David Friedenreich it's called a prayer for human rights. O God and God of our ancestors, do we not all share one parent? Did not one God create us all? And you have bestowed your dignity upon flesh and blood. It is well known and obvious in your sight that whoever can protest against wrongdoing in this world and does not protest is held accountable for what happens in the world. May it be your will, therefore, that we act to protect human rights and human dignity. Help us to perceive the divine presence in every one of your creatures, so that we may find favour and goodwill in the eyes of God and one another. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, ruler of time and space, who fashioned the first human being in the divine image and endowed every descendant with human rights. For one who disgraces another person brings disgrace to the likeness of God. Baruch atah Adonai, creator of humanity and human rights. Amen. And carrying on page 486.
Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, ki nisbav shemo levado.
Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, v'yarem keren me'amot, te'ila l'chol chasidah, l'bnei Yisrael, am karovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Page 489.
Lekatov natati lachem, torati al tazovu.
Eis hayim hi, l'machazikim ba, v'tomhecha me'usham d'rahecha, nachei noam, v'chol netivotecha, shalom, hashivenu, Adonai elecha, v'nashuva, Chadesh Yamenu, 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 Chadesh Yamenu, Please be seated. So the most famous section of our Torah reading is the Jacob's Ladder, with angels ascending and descending. And there's huge bodies of interpretation and midrashim. And it's a very rich source, but it was far too rich for me to deal with. So I'm not going to talk about that. It is fantastic though, so I urge you to delve into some of that. But instead, I want to talk about stones. But first, a little bit of background. The preamble to this week's parasha, it was in last week's, is that Jacob is on the run. And the end of last week's parasha, we learned how Jacob tricked his brother Esau out of their father's blessing by going in disguise. This was after earlier on he'd already bought Esau's birthright in exchange for a bowl of soup. No, he's not the nicest of guys. Now Esau has said he will kill him, so on his mother's advice, Jacob has made a quick getaway. He's on the road. He's running, he's getting late, so he decides he'll stop to sleep. It's literally the middle of nowhere. It's just a spot in the desert. It has no significance to him. All there are stones. The most basic thing imaginable. He has nothing to sleep on. So he takes one of the stones and uses it as a rather hard pillow. But Makom, in that place, the verse says twice, in that lowest and most improbable of places. But it is in this most inauspicious place that Jacob has an extraordinary life-changing experience. He dreams of this ladder stretching up to the heavens, where God is beside him. And God promises this bit of land, this pretty basic bit of land, to Jacob and his offspring. And he says that they are going to be as numerous as the dust, pieces of dust of the earth. It's not as glamorous as the stars in heaven, this one. Numerous as dust. It's more earthy, it's more real, it's more simpler. So when Jacob wakes up, he declares that this place is Norah. It is awesome, and is the place of God. He takes the stone that he had slept on, pours oil onto it, and turns it into an altar. God dwelt in this place, he says. I did not know it. He assumed that such a humble place would not be a place of God, but in fact, it was. So I think this is quite a profound insight that the great religions pour resources into grand, expensive buildings, temples, mosques, churches, occasionally shuls, but not usually as grand, but sometimes St John's Wood, yeah. They are explicitly billed as houses of God, but God is not necessarily there. In fact, God is more likely to be in the humblest, poorest, most simple places, the deserts, the in-between spaces, the no-man's land. Lionel Blue used to say that spirituality is badly distributed. There's too much of it in churches and synagogues, and not enough of it at night bus stops. So maybe God prefers travel by night bus. You can go undetected very easily. So from places to people, the liberation theology movement that is associated with radical Catholicism in the 1960s and 70s, South America, asserted that God is with the poor, the excluded, the refugees, and the outsiders. And this fits well with the Christian foundational story, the idea of God inhabiting the body of a newborn baby, by definition the most vulnerable kind of human you can have. But I think there's also the possibility of a Jewish liberation theology, one that emphasises the origin story of Judaism being enslaved in Egypt, literally at the bottom of the heap. And those kind of people are the ones that took the Torah, right? There's all these midrashim that God offering it to much more important people, but they make conditions and the Israelites just say yes. So there's something in there, I think. And if the story of the Israelites in Egypt doesn't literally happen, as many scholars and many rabbis think, I think that makes it all the more significant, because that's the story of how we were poverty-stricken, oppressed people, is the story that we choose to tell about ourselves, regardless of whether it's based in history or not. That's the kind of the foundation myth of the Israelites, the Jewish people. And there's a line in the Amidah, one that we often gloss over, which particularly when we sing it to the nice jaunty tune that I was doing earlier on, which I think is quite relevant. It says, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, u'matir asurim, u'mekayem emunato l'shem ne'afar. This text says, God raises up the fallen, heals the sick, frees the prisoners, and holds faith with those who sleep in the dust, i.e. the homeless. It's pretty bold stuff. It says that God consistently is with those at the fringes of society, the ones who have the least, the ones who have no one else to help them. And sadly, we don't hear enough about these people in election campaigns. Some of the most marginalised people can't actually vote. Refugees and asylum seekers can be safely ignored, imprisoned in detention centres, not allowed to work, sent back to countries where they may well be in danger. Because they don't have the vote, there's not much incentive to campaign on their behalf. The same is true of prisoners who might suffer horrendously in overcrowded prisons, where they're rarely able to leave their cells in the 24-hour period, where the programmes that could actually help rehabilitate them, maybe deal with some of the issues that led to them being put in prison, have all been cut back. But despite there's a European Court of Human Rights that links to human rights Shabbat, there's a ruling that prisoners should have the vote. The government have not given them the vote. And there are other marginalised people, like the homeless and the poorest, who rely on food banks and benefits, do technically have the vote, but often don't vote. It's not that easy to register when you've got no fixed address and you're desperately trying to find enough to pay your bills and feed your children. It might not be the first thing on your mind. So those people don't end up being the focus either. Instead, parties have to focus on a relatively small number of voters in marginal constituencies, the favoured, usually middle class, swing voters. So politics becomes about worrying about the centre, the middle ground, in an attempt to build a broad coalition that can lead to a parliamentary majority. But our story, and I think Jewish tradition bears this out, God is less concerned with the mainstream, the centre, and more worried about the edges, the borders, the fringes. God in Torah comforts the afflicted, feeds the hungry, and supports the orphan and the widow. And many Midrashim say, if God does those things, so should we. So maybe some of those people should get a bit more of the focus in this election. In the middle of the wilderness, surrounded by stones, you might experience divinity. So I think let's pay a bit more attention to the stones, the deserts, the homes of the neglected, and the streets of the homeless. Maybe God was in those places and we didn't know it. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue and conclude our service with the Aleinu on page 520. Please rise if you're able to.
Aleinu l'shabech l'hadon ha'kol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגודי מרומים. ואלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום בהשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד.
Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might, when false gods will vanish from our hearts, and God will cease forever.
Help us to perfect the world by believing in your unchallenged rule. When all will know your name, relinquishing evil and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you your enemies must bend and their tongues swear loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you may reign glory, as it is written, the eternal one shall reign forever.
ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
shared with us the joys and burdens of life, and who are no longer in our midst. The sorrow of bereavement is softened by the bond of love that continues to unite us with our dear ones and by our cherished memories of them, which we will always carry in our hearts. And we're thinking, of course, of Mike Solomon and Karen Brown. Are there any other names we should be mentioning who have passed away recently? Feel free to say them in your hearts if you don't want to say them out loud. Okay, and we think of those also that have the arts at this time. Lewis Burlam, father of Maureen Lubert, Betty Carr, mother of Terence Carr, and Alec Carr, father of Terence Carr. Sidney Clark, father of Helena Stone, Peter Murray, brother of Brenda Hunt, Herbert Olszewski, father of Ruth Eva Fiegel, Madeleine Rubens, mother of Rosemary Wolfson, Martha Schatz, grandmother of Eva Fiegel, Nora Seymour, friend of the community, Millie Tapper, mother of Evelyn Roos, Henry Warner, husband of Ursula Warner, and father Alison Warner, and father of Jennifer Carter. May their memories all be for a blessing. May all that was good in their lives remain with us as an influence for good. May God grant consolation to those who are in sorrow and light to those in darkness. Teach us at all times to put our trust in you and to praise your name. We say Kaddish together on page 524. Yikadal v'yitkadash Shem Rabba. Ya'amad yibrach Yerushalayim yomif malkutzeh. V'chayet kol yom echon. V'chayet kol Beit Yisrael. V'adlad zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi Shem Rabba v'barak ya'am amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yifa'al v'yishomam v'yinaseh. V'yitzatam v'yizalek v'yizalal shnei kudisha v'rivku. Ve'ela min kol v'yichatza v'shirata. Tishbachata v'nechamata. V'amirad v'yamah v'yimru amen. Yehi Shem Rabba min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom v'yimamav. V'yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yakol b'nei Adam. Amen. Please be seated. Yeah, go for it.
Shabbat Shalom. First of all, I think it goes without saying to give Joseph a massive thank you for a very vibrant, thought-provoking service. I did notice from my back seat a few people rocking, and nothing wrong with that and clapping. That's great to get the spirit. I think we need to record it and sell the CDs after. just the faults. And also, for more of a thanks, because last night, last minute we needed a singer for the service, so I phoned Joseph up, who willingly, I think, agreed. I said, so I'll put you out. I hope you won't had much planned for you. He said, well, I was planning for this morning service. So obviously somehow you fitted it in, so thank you. Next Friday night service is Frances Spiegel hosting. Frances doesn't actually come to the shore much, but she does like the idea of entertaining from our home and providing a service, so that's next Friday. And our service taker for next Shabbat is Rachel Benjamin. I don't know if any of you have been to her service, but she adds another alternative feel, very vibrant and thought-provoking as well. So if you can come to that, it would be good. Any other announcements around the room? Okay. Final hymn.
We're going to continue with Bashana Haba'a, which is on page 654. I just thought this was a nice one to do because it's very optimistic and forward-looking. So going into both the election and also 2020, which is around the corner, it's nice to have a bit of positivity and a bit of hope for the future. And 654. Although it's a bit wordy, unfortunately, and this Siddur doesn't have it written out in transliteration, the new Siddur will, I think, but I can't get all the words, and at least during the chorus, which is just Od Tirei, Kama Tov Yihiyeh, Bashana Haba'a. So that's all you need to do, really. Od Tirei, Kama Tov Yihiyeh, Bashana Haba'a.
בשנה הבאה נשב המרפסת ונצפור ציפורים נודדות. ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין חסדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. ענבים אדומים יבשילו עד הערב ויוגשו צוננים לשולחן. ברוחות רדומים ייסעו עליהם הדרך עיתונים ישנים בענן. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. בשנה הבאה נפרוס כפות ידיים מול האור הניגר הלבן. ענפה לבנה תפרוס באור כנפיים והשמש תזרח בזרחן. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. Shabbat Shalom. I have no idea what time we are relative to downstairs, but I think we'll be alright. I doubt they'll be waiting for us.
What you can do, you can actually go downstairs and you might get the dodo long.
Okay.
I'll have a check.
Bonus extra. That's great. That's brilliant. It helps because it's quite difficult. So, well, exactly. That's why you need a bit of chemistry. I think
They're on the dodo long. As predicted. Oh yeah, we've got to the end of February. Yeah, it's every 3 months, is enough. So, yeah, well, we've got other good people. It's into March, February. He was. Talk about Gershon. No, you said you've got other books. Yeah, well, Joseph normally does the first one of the month. Thank you. Yeah, first of the month.
Why? What kind of thing did he like singing?
He likes singing.
Which you don't like
Yeah. Finish it downstairs, definitely. Thank you. What's your name? Sorry. Jennifer. Oh. Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Wish you long life.
Jeremiah.
Yes, we should.
We keep what goes on in here stays in here, just remember that.
No, it was my choice.
Yeah.
Well done. Nicely read.
Sure.
Yes, it was a colour. Really, really.
Good. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's what I need.
Bit old for a groupie, but you know.
Why not? Why not? Fantastic.
Shabbat shalom, ladies, and I wish you all long life.
Shabbat shalom. You seem a lot better.
Yes, I am. I can actually. Yes, I slipped on the stairs at home because I wasn't holding a banister. Not all this.
Is that something that you
No, I'm nearly at the end now, and I can actually cook without food and without crutches.
So when do you have it off?
Hopefully before Christmas.
Oh,
Oh, I do.
How's it going? I asked you last week, but is it stable? It's not everything's to improve.
I saw Lindsay was trying to look at what you couldn't do over Wednesday. Swinging and...
Yes, that's not They are, well, yes, he's thinking of moving from where they are. And they're going to move, it's going to be up this way or even further, even into some Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire. So stressing from there would be a nightmare, of course.
You are a brick.
Yeah, I just realised that, yeah.
I mean, it's a very interesting thought, isn't it?
Very, yes, he clearly, he then, having met, as I said, this long meeting had on Sunday, he then emailed me, and he is clearly very keen. Very keen.
It's interesting that so far that is the only application.
Well, that's not quite true either.
That was, sorry, maybe my information is behind.
Well, yeah, the second one is that I had an email from Danny Rich.
I wondered if you would.
And Danny Rich was said, emailed me to say he will, only a 2-line email, he will be sending in an application. I don't understand what's in his mind. I cannot get my head around it. Maybe when he actually sends in his application, it'll become a bit clearer. Because, he's got a full-time plus job, of course.
Maybe he wants to give it up.
Well, you can't do that as well. You can't be an rabbi and still be
maybe he's thinking of retiring from
well,
that job.
presumably.
But there was something that Leon was complaining about him wanting to stand as a Labour MP, I remember.
Well, that's right. And Leon, yes, he was his views. And he is a councillor, as you know. He's a Labour
I
councillor.
don't know anything.
Oh, yes, he is.
Fine.
He stood as a councillor, local councillor of Barnet, where he lives. So he is a councillor already. But then that's a sort of part-time position, so that's okay.
Right.
But he was definitely thinking of standing as an MP.
He has mentioned it. It's a bit, but honestly, we are having a meeting about that at some point.
We have a meeting, yes, on, kind of Stephen just mentioned to me, it's not this coming, because we've got council this
Thank you
week,
very much, yes.
haven't we? It's the
Yeah.
following week.
Yes. No, I mean, I should keep stum, obviously, but,
Yes, yes.
yes.